What it do, haters of marijuana kicking people out of the Olympics everywhere? It is Wednesday, July 7th, and today I am sponsored by Air Jordan. How is it going, RJ?
I'm doing great. Wish I had a great sponsor like you, but I'm sponsored by Elevated Takes. Cue the merch.
Yeah, you are.
Right?
Hell yeah,
like,
that's a better company anyway. That's what I'm saying.
Like, doesn't this hat it looks so crispy?
It's so fresh.
Back?
Absolutely.
Like, dang.
Oh man, so fresh.
I'm doing great. Can't wait to tell you more about the merch later. But
yeah.
I had a great weekend. Enjoyed the 4th, just like everyone else. I was on the lake, hitting the jet ski, some volleyball, some basketball, eating them hot dogs. Well, how was your weekend?
It sounds like your 4th was identical to mine outside of the volleyball. I got to be honest, I hit the jet ski pretty hard, and I have never been more sore. Like what they say about your body hating you getting older is the absolute truth. Also,
definitely.
Disclaimer, I am not sponsored by Air Jordan, but Michael, if you're looking for a new platform, hit me up, man.
Come on over.
Goat meets goat. Come on over here, bro. Come on over here. But yeah, no, I very much enjoyed my 4th. Got a great weekend with the family, long weekend. My puppy turned 3. Shout out Vash.
Love you,
little
Vash.
man. Best little doggy. But yeah, dude, it was a fantastic weekend of relaxing, drinking, and hanging out with people I love. So no problems over here, boss.
No problems with that. But guess what? While we were having a great weekend, do you know what was going on?
Oh, I don't know, but you should tell me. You should tell me what's going on with some hot shit.
So basically what's going on is the Tampa Bay Lightning, they're about to go back-to-back Stanley Cup champs. Okay?
They're blowing up my dreams is what they're doing. They're blowing up my dreams.
But they are just destroying the Canadians, okay? What I want to talk about when it comes to this is Steve Yzerman really built up that team because the players who are great are not free agents who came there. It is draft picks that the team has molded into star players. They are very good. Very good. You don't win two Stanley Cups in a row without having a great team chemistry, team dynamic, and player personnel in the right position to succeed. It gives me hope for the Red Wings. I'm hoping Stevie Y can bring it to the Red Wings, and he's already made a couple of great draft picks, in my opinion. We'll see. That was my first one. You got anything about the Tampa Bay killing your Canadians?
Yeah, other than like I said, them crapping on all over my dreams. No, shout out to them. They're doing really great. I mean, as far as building the team, amazing, right? I mean, having Stamkos as like your original building block is not usually a bad way to do it. You know what I mean? It's not a bad situation down there in Tampa. But for any warm city to be this good at hockey, they've got to have some magic, and I'm hoping Stevie Y brings that back up north, even though he did, re-sign Blashill, which I feel like this entire state was very against. Very against. Dude hasn't had success since the Griffins. Try saying that 10 times fast. Hasn't had success since the Griffins. But hey, who knows? Even in the press conference where he was like, "Yeah, we're extending him out," he was very much like,
it was just like,
"Yeah, well, you know,
we're not going to win anything next year, so let's just roll it back."
So it seems like he's very on the developmental train, which I feel like is different than the Red Wings of old, where they basically just rid who they had until the twilight. So I'm all for it. I'm hoping he can bring that magic. And shout out Tampa, you guys are playing out of your minds.
And last thing I'll say real quick is the Mantha trade comes out. He's just coming out roses.
Oh, man.
So everything, Stevie Y is Stevie Y we trust. Yes.
They got hosed.
Okay. The next thing I'm going to go to is talk about the Stanley Cup. Well, let's talk about the NBA Finals. They are set. They actually happen on the 6th of July. Okay. So the Phoenix Suns are going up against the Milwaukee Bucks. Milwaukee has Giannis, and he may or may not play. It's undecided. He still is having some knee problems. When it comes to the Suns, they're back. I mean, they have Chris Paul back. They have Devin Booker, and they have Deontay Ayton, and that's a hell of a combo right there. And you have Mikal, something Bridges. They're great.
Mikal Bridges.
That's what it is. What I want to bring up real quick before we get into this, and maybe it is an elevated take that I'll do down the road. Trae Young impressed
Foreshadow.
the hell out of me. Impressed the hell out of me. He became the villain. He took it on. That's fine. Cities hate him now. Don't care. He played out of his mind. He shows you why him and that Luka and Trae Young trade. Both teams won. I mean, I'd much rather have Luka, hence why my team has Luka. You didn't go wrong getting Trae Young, though. Out of that draft, I would have those two players. They should go number 1 and number 2.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, don't get me wrong. I'd still take Luka all day long over that. But here's where I'm at with that, with at least Trae Young. So I'm just going to throw this out there. Literally all of my predictions for this offseason have come to fruition. It has been fantastic. Suns made it all the way once the Lakers got out. Milwaukee absolutely upset the Nets. Obviously, it was because of injury, but still, like I had a game day game plan against the Nets not too long ago, and I picked the Bucks to beat them, and that's exactly what happened. So if you want a guru, come over to Guru Shady over here because I'm spitting right now. Other than the Habs obviously getting the shit kicked out of them, but
besides that,
other than that, okay, yes, Trae Young played well, but dude, the rest of his entire team played out of their minds. Like Lou Williams played amazing, Danilo Gallinari played amazing, John Collins played the best basketball I've ever seen him play in the playoffs. Like
great highlight plays.
Absolutely. If anything, I think I have more confidence in the Hawks' upper management than I ever have because, I mean, honestly, they wouldn't have gotten this far, I don't think, without the Lou Williams trade for Rondo that they pulled off. Because he really carried them when Trae was out. He put up some numbers. But, dude, it's hard for me to say, like, yes, I know he was hurt, but, like, at the end of the day, like, you know who scored the most points in their last game? Cam Reddish.
Wow.
Cam Reddish scored the most points in that. He didn't play the entire season. Dude didn't have played the entire season. Oh, Kevin Huerter played well. Yeah.
He played well.
Dude, but that's just it. Is like his entire team played out of their minds too, and maybe that is because Trae brought the energy that they needed, taking on that villain role because he certainly did, like you're saying. But I still don't have any confidence in him. Like I would still take Luka every single day, up and down.
I completely agree. I just think Trae Young was the second best in that draft. So I can't hate on the Hawks for having him or making that trade. So regardless, let's move on to your hot shit.
All right, bro. So you brought a little NBA, you brought a little NHL. I'm gonna bring a little football, and I'm gonna bring a little soccer. We're gonna go full circle today, cover the whole plane.
Some football and some football.
Yeah, exactly. You know what? So first I got to bring to the table here, N'Keal Harry, kind of a bust wide receiver for the New England Patriots, has requested a trade from said New England Patriots. So for those of you who do not know, N'Keal Harry was an Arizona State wide receiver, was an absolute stud. I thought the Patriots stole him with the 32nd pick in the 2019 draft. But he never developed. Injuries plagued him. He couldn't really play with the big boys, it didn't seem like. And he's ready to move on from the Patriots. And I hope he finds a new home because the 6'4 receiver's got all the talent in the world. You know what I mean? The guy can sky. He's a man among boys when you saw him playing in college. And if the right coach taps into his potential, the guy could be a monster.
Well, that's the thing. He was a man amongst boys playing in college. There's a lot of men playing amongst boys in college. He hasn't done it at the pro level. I have a friend who is the biggest Patriots fan I know, Kyle Adams. I'll go ahead and tag you in this episode, Kyle Adams, because he posted this on Facebook. And his comment, a Patriots fan who like, sweet, we got a first round draft pick. It's a wide receiver. Awesome. Talent. Sweet. Was good. He's a bust. So he's happy that he's moving on. But I can't blame him because N'Keal Harry has not worked out with the New England Patriots. It's just a fact. Can't stay on the field. And when he's on the field, he drops the ball a crap ton. At least he did with them. Not saying Cam Newton's the best quarterback in the world, but I had him on 2 fantasy teams last year, and I dropped him by week 6. So,
I hear you.
The best, right?
Yeah, same. And I think at this point his career is probably kaput. Like, you very rarely see a receiver who starts his career as poorly as Harry did and actually make it in this league as like a Pro Bowler or anything like that. I will say though, it's not like New England's great at developing offensive talent though. You know what I mean? Like,
True.
usually the guys who show up there are role players or the greatest of all time. So, like, it's hard for me to say, like, oh, like, I think they did a poor job, or I think he did a really shit job, like, committing to what the Patriots needed, and maybe it is the development. But for me, all this story is saying is it's just furthering the hypothesis that the greatest coach of all time is one of the worst GMs of all time. Because very seldom has Bill Belichick taken a skill player or really anyone in the first 3 rounds and made them a killer other than, like, Gronkowski. You know what I mean?
Yeah, the worst
And he was
going to
be a monster anyway.
The worst GM of all time is the GM that let the best player ever leave his team.
Yeah.
I mean,
agreed. I mean, don't get me wrong. I think Matt Millen is still the worst GM of all time, but Belly's up there.
Apparently he's up there. What else do you have for us? You said some other type of football. I'm excited about that. The Euros have been great.
So shifting over to international ball, the Euro Championship. Basically, all the teams who we were talking about are out of the tournament here. I brought up Spain and Germany. Germany got booted pretty early on, and Spain just lost, and that is my hot shit for today. Italy defeats Spain on PKs to advance to the Euro final against either England or Denmark. I'm pretty sure England's going to take that game. England's been playing out of their goddamn minds lately, so I'm sure they're going to take it on over. But Italy, dude. Italy's got some fire to them. I'm excited to see what they bring to the championship.
Yeah, so I like England. Mason Mount. There's a couple players on that team that I really do like. Mason Mount, Chelsea fella. Shady over here. He has a little bit of love for Chelsea. If you haven't heard that before,
a little bit.
I believe it's Italy. They've been doing so good. They've only let, I believe, one match where they've let goals in.
Their defense has been absolutely stellar.
2 tournaments.
Out of this world.
Amazing. I mean, literally out of this world. Correct. That is the correct term. This is unbelievable, and I mean that in every sense of the word. Best defense you could have ever asked for. The other team I'll bring up, Mbappe, rising star, supposed to be on the Messi, Ronaldo level. Okay, he misses
100%.
a free kick.
Yep.
He misses in PKs, so
Yep.
like what Shady was just saying, we're going shot for shot now. We've already done the overtimes. Yep. We're just, who misses first? Well, he missed it and he lost. And I think this is going to be a career defining moment. Okay? I'm hoping he comes back stronger. Hope he leaves PSG and then he goes to a great Champion League winning team, potentially. I don't know. The boys in
like
blue,
a female
maybe some
name,
Chelsea.
or there you go.
Yeah,
I could get on that. Yeah,
I could
have
definitely
Conte
get on
have his fellow countrymen come on over, jump on the blue squad.
Exactly.
I'm totally into that. So it reminded me. I literally started to have flashbacks of that 2016 Copa America I always talk about, where Messi missed that free kick, and but that's just it. That year, he came out after the game and said, "I'm quitting international ball. I'm never playing for Argentina again because I let down the country." And sure enough, he's back on the international squad already.
Yeah. And
he was still considered one of the best players in the entire world, if not the best player in the entire world. So I don't think it's going to destroy Mbappe's shine. I don't think he's going to stop his meteoric rise to the top. But it's just something he's got to get better at. I mean, it happens more often than you think. Greatest players in the world, biggest stage, most pressure. It's that in the soccer world is the exact same as World Series, games tied 3-3, bottom of the ninth, down 3 runs, bases loaded, full count. That's the exact same feeling. And if he misses, he misses. But that's just it. It's Messi sailed his over the crossbar. Mbappe was on target, and the keeper made an insane save. He made a fantastic save. So you can go home and sleep well after. Hey, at least I was on target with my kick. The keeper just played out of his mind. I didn't shank it. You know what I mean? So take that home, Mbappe. I'm sure you're worried about what 2 random white dudes feel like over in America. We're behind you, buddy. Hope you make it through these trying times.
Yep. Well, we're rooting for you. Join Chelsea. Trust me, it'll be well worth it. We'll pay.
Build your confidence back up. Get with the best team in the world,
Why not?
All right, bro. You ready for some elevated takes? Because I'm ready to be elevated.
Yep. I'm ready when you are.
All right, I'm ready to hear your take in 3, 2, 1. Dance.
Speaking of Chelsea paying, let's talk about the NCAA now paying. So here's what you need to know. The NCAA has agreed that players deserve to make money off of their name, image, and likeness. So what exactly does that mean? Okay, so your physical name, your image, so who you are. So like in video games, okay? Let's go back, and then likeness, okay? So if the team's putting out a poster and your name's not in it, but there's like a picture of the full team, well, your likeness is in there, okay? So let me go back. Let's just look real far back, okay? There's a guy who's in a video game called NCAA 14. I know Shady and I have both played it. Probably over 100 hours. I've played that game
Easy.
so much, okay? And if you play that game, you play a career, or you do anything, the first 2 seasons you play in that game, there's always a white small quarterback from Texas A&M who is a Heisman candidate. Was there a white short quarterback from Texas A&M at that time who I would say his likeness was depicted in that very video game? Yes, there was. Johnny Manziel. And guess how much money he made off that? Zero. A game I still play to this day. He made $0. Now let's think about something else. Okay, think back the past 2 years. How many times have you seen Trevor Lawrence spin a football in his hand while they're loading up, while they're running out to kick off for the kickoff, or they're doing a promo about all football and he's in the background with maybe like Justin Fields and their like arms are on there, whatever, okay? Every interview they do with ESPN, they could now be getting paid to do. Let's bring something else up, okay? Cassius Winston. Shady's over here like, yeah, what about him? Why is that important? Okay, his name was mentioned so much in his senior year because he was a top 5 finalist for the John Wooden Award, okay? What is important about that is his NBA career is basically going to be a G Leaguer 11th man on the bench.
Yep.
He's not going to make a lot of money, but from the money he made being a finalist in the Wooden Award could very well put his family forward. Not necessarily saying he's going to make $1 million off that, but he could make, a great living, okay? Just off that could really set up his future. I'm probably out of time, so I'm going to move up quickly. My question is, how will players be getting paid? Will ESPN come in and be like, hey, everyone on Ohio State University, we're going to give you all $3,000. Every single player, from the backup kicker to the star quarterback. $2,000, we get to use your name and likeness however we want, whenever we want. Sweet. Most teams will take that because you got the 2%ers of the team players who are going to go to the draft being like, well, hold on, no, I'm worth a lot more. Then everyone else is like, dude, just give me my bread, like, let me eat. Shady will comment on that. And for people who are saying this is just for basketball and football, it's not. I can tell you, go to ESPNU right now. They'll be showing a softball game, a baseball game, wrestling, gymnastics. There is so much college sports that are on TV where these people can get their money. Go ahead, Shady.
I love it. I love it. So here's where I think it's going to come into play. Jersey sales, they need to get a percentage. Autographs,
without a doubt,
they need to start getting paid for. Certain revenues for being, like, even that NCAA football game that you just referred to, NCAA 14, everyone knows is the greatest football game of all time. Cover of it, not even like pixelated bullshit like Johnny Manziel was in the game. Denard Robinson, shoeless.
Yeah.
Like his face was on it, and that game sold millions of copies, and he didn't see a dime.
Still
and then what? He was like
a copies.
And then what? He was like a reserve running back for the Jaguars for a couple years, and then his
Special
career's
team
kaput.
just
Like,
did kickoffs.
do you know?
Yep.
Exactly. Do you know what that could have done for, like you said, his family, his legacy, everything moving forward? And don't get me wrong, I think in the Johnny Manziel case, you give that kid $4 million in merchandising before the NFL, and he even turns out worse than the catastrophe that was his career.
Very well, possibly.
And I don't, honestly, I'm thrilled for this. I'm thrilled for the athletes. Think about the guy who we went to high school with, Kirk Ellsworth, making the play. He could be signing pictures of that's who I meant, sorry, like Kyler Ellsworth. That's who he could be making money off of that. You know what I mean? And it's just, my biggest thing, though, as soon as I saw that was passed, every single person whose rewards have been ripped from them need to be reinstated immediately. Okay? Everyone
AKA
who listens
Reggie
to this
Bush.
podcast, everyone on this podcast, everyone who listens to this podcast and you know how big of a UTA fan I am. I love the Longhorns, and they will be my favorite college till
Hook
the
'em.
day that I die in football. Hook 'em. And their greatest rivalry when I was growing up was USC. And the fact that they took that Heisman away from Reggie Bush into what is this day, to me, what I consider to be the greatest career in college of any running back ever. Like, in my eyes, right? I didn't see... I didn't see the guys in the 80s and the early 90s.
We didn't see Bo Jackson.
Yeah, exactly. So take that with a grain of salt. But he was doing things out there that no player has done since, and no player had done up to him, and they ripped it from him for like $80,000 when his family needed some help. So it's like, oh my God! As soon as I saw that pass, he needs to be reinstated as a Heisman Trophy winner. All of his trophies need to be brought back up. USC needs to get those championships back. And that's what I care about. I want to see the history of the game reinstate its integrity, because for me, the last 10 years, as soon as they did that shit to Reggie, I lost all the respect for the NCAA in the world, because think about how much money he made for them, regardless of what he was getting signed and how he was getting it signed. College football wouldn't be what it is today if it wasn't for Reggie Bush, and they need to fix that immediately.
Yeah, something that I don't think we're really going to touch much upon is, like, there is options for kids, right? Like we talked about before, like you can go straight to the G League and play rather than go to the NCAA and play for Duke or MSU, whatever. Another option all college kids have is what school you go to. So will some schools give you more? I feel like that is such an unfair advantage when it comes to recruiting, but, you know, let's say I'm average at football. I can play college. I could be a walk-on at Michigan State. I'm never going to play. I'm never going to see the field, but I will be a walk-on. And let's say ESPN does give you $3,000. Okay, cool. I get $3,000. Or do I be a starter at an NAIA school? Okay. I could get tons of accolades. I could get tons of eyes on me, but I won't make any money. So I believe this is going to factor into how high school students are going to make their decisions on where they play. And not a big deal, right? No, it is a big deal. The NAIA is really big. I don't think people understand how many colleges are in there. I went to college that was in there. Then I went to Oakland, which was in a NCAA school. So I've seen both perspectives. And I know our Aquinas' hockey team could very easily beat Oakland on any given night. So there's great athletes in there, but those teams may now be depleted unless the NAIA does something about it or joins the NCAA.
Yep. And all right. Well, I'm gonna have to push myself away from the Aquinas v. Oakland conversation, because we got a lot of friends who are gonna have a lot of beef with that statement.
True.
So I'm not gonna go for that. I didn't know how Aquinas played. But what I'm really excited to see, and excited like you're excited to see a tornado, excited like you're excited to see a Cat 5 hurricane. I'm excited to see how the NCAA screws this up even more and makes it way more difficult than it needs to be, because they're a horrible organization. So I'm sure they're going to institute their own controls over this that are going to make it a nightmare for everybody involved. And it's going to be a catastrophe. Can't wait to see it.
Well, all right. Well, that was my elevated take. Shady, you are ready whenever you are ready. I will start the timer when you start to talk.
All right. I will start to talk now. Now, this one is going to be a surprise for a lot of people who know old Shady, and a lot of people who know how I feel about the world and how I decide to live my own life. Well, at least maybe not recently, but for the vast majority of my life, this will come as a surprise to people. My elevated take today is about Sha'Carri Richardson,
Awesome.
the Olympic sprinter who was disqualified from the Olympics for testing positive on marijuana, THC, before her run. She posted a time, I believe it was 10.78, or no, I think it was 10.86. Yeah. She broke the 10.78 record. 2019, she ran 10.75. Beat the record of 10.78 for the world junior record of 10.88 and the NCAA record of 1078. She beat it in college, and then she just ran an electrifying 1086 in the 100-meter final at the qualifier. She was supposed to go to Japan, lead the relay teams, lead us to glory, and she got booted for marijuana. Now, here's my elevated take, because I know a lot of people out there aren't going to want to hear it. They were right to ban her from the Olympics. They were 100%, and this I say this with such a heavy heart because she was obviously mourning the loss of her mother, which is what she came out and said about why she was smoking at the time. I understand it's against the rules, but for me, it's not even about that, okay? Everyone's up in arms because why is THC even so illegal? We still have this conversation constantly. Josh Gordon brings it up in the NFL every single year.
Yep.
Because it's a miracle he's still in the league, but I'm glad he is. Because I do believe that THC should be legal recreationally across the board everywhere, but it's not legal everywhere across the board, and that's where my elevated take comes from. They were right to ban her because we as Americans have to understand the Olympics are not an American sporting event. It is not based off of American ideals, American regulations, or American institutions. And we as a country are starting to move much more toward recreational marijuana. Not everywhere, but the vast majority of us are, in the eye of public opinion, it should be legalized. The world is not like that. There are so many countries who are contributing to this where marijuana is like the worst thing you can do. In Thailand, I know people are getting executed over having it.
30.
So for you to bring one of your champions into an international race where so many nations, the majority of nations, still don't approve of a substance, and it became so publicized that she had taken it, you have to take that into account and not disrespect the rest of the field who is contributing to the ultimate the ultimate product, which is the Olympics. It's not about America. It's not about American ideals. This is the world. And unfortunately, the world doesn't feel the same way we do about marijuana. They made the right call in banning her from the Olympics. It sucks. It should change, but that's the way it is.
I can't tell you how happy I am that we agree on this, because I really thought that we may have a screaming match on here, because I feel very strongly about this, okay?
Yeah.
I'm just going to say, like, let me put it like this. There's a lot of people who don't want to wear a mask, okay? That's fine. Don't wear a mask. There's a lot of people who want to smoke weed. That's fine. Smoke weed. But if your job says, hey, you have to wear a mask while you work, and then you don't wear a mask, they have every right to suspend you or fire you. If your job says, hey, don't smoke weed, and you go ahead and smoke weed, you knew the consequences. And she came out, Miss Richardson, right? She came out and said, I knew what I was doing was wrong, but I chose to make that decision. Okay. And she herself has not really complained about the ban. She hasn't.
No.
And I saw her put out
She
a
has
comment.
taken it like a champion. She has been an absolute champion through this entire ordeal.
She is
absolutely not the problem. She has been wonderful.
Yeah. She released a tweet today saying, everyone who's saying they're going to boycott the Olympics because it's racist that I'm not in the Olympics, please don't do that, because there's plenty of African Americans who have worked their entire lives for this moment, and do not deprive them of their moment just because I made, now I'm paraphrasing at this point, she made a silly mistake, or, made a decision that cost her her chance. I have grown to like her because of this. I had no I didn't really care. I didn't care about 100 meter.
100%.
You know what I mean? Like, I didn't really care about her personally. I definitely would have watched her, but I had no emotional connection to her. Just like there's a runner, the only reason I remember his name because his last name was Gay. He got thrown out because he was using illegal substances as well. Okay, who cares, right? But now you've taken your platform and tried to spin it to be positive. Doesn't matter if it works or not. You are doing what should be done. You are using your voice in the best way possible. You're not creating
100%.
riots. You are not doing, I don't know, whatever you want to say. She is using her voice. This is how protests were meant to be.
Yep.
Not even saying she's protesting anything. This is how you state your opinion. This is how civilized
She's doing it
people,
with the utmost class. Yep.
This is how the civilized people have conversations. And I think the people on ESPN who are like, this is outrageous, it's legal in her state and all this stuff, you're an idiot. Like, if you honestly think that it's okay, like, I personally believe, and we don't need to talk about it, that marijuana could very well be THC. We only gotta say marijuana. THC could very well be a performance enhancer. If you're the best athlete in the world, but you have ungodly nerves, well, guess what? THC helps you with your nerves. So that could very easily enhance your performance. Not a debate for today. Maybe a debate for later. Who knows? I
will debate you on that.
Okay.
That I will debate you on. Because they don't ban athletes for like prescription drugs that they do deal with anxiety, and it's no different than that. But like you said, it is clearly written in the bylaws that you cannot smoke marijuana, or you cannot have it in your system during competition. You can smoke it outside of competition. You're not going to get banned for a video of it. In fact, Michael Phelps did.
Yep.
So the racist conversation, I think, is one for another day, because that's not. I don't find that to be a part of this. You can find exceptions everywhere. You know what I mean? Because that's what they do. That's what those arguers are going to do. They go back in history and they find the exceptions, which they exist for sure. But you can do that with every single rule in the book. Like, you can always find an exception where the committee, for some reason or another, made an exception and they didn't hear, and you have to accept it. Now, I'm not saying that the Olympic Committee always makes the right calls and always does the right thing, blah, 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 blah. But like you said, all the arguments that I've heard for why she should be able to run are very American bias. They're
Correct.
very, this is our social belief, and so it should be the world's social belief, and it's not. And you have to respect the Olympics for what they are. She didn't. She accepts that. She's promoted that she accepts that. And in 4 years, I hope she breaks every woman's 100-meter world record in the world.
Same. I have become a fan, and I just want to make this, like, I am not trying to make this a race issue. She commented on the racial underlying issue of it, which is why I brought it up. So she brought it up.
Yeah. I know. No, but it is the prominent narrative going on right now, is that this is a race thing because she's got long nails and she's got colorful hair, but that doesn't matter at all. Like that
at all.
That has nothing to do with the rules as they are written. She broke the rules as they are written, and she accepts it. And there are reasons beyond the American view for why those reasons exist, and we as the American people need to accept that.
Love it. I like that we had two elevated takes, and we both agree with them because they were extremely elevated and well crafted.
They were. It is odd that we were both on the same side of very, very narrow beliefs right now. That almost never happens. We're like, not very many people in the country are gonna be with us on those beliefs. So, is what it is. But hey, you ready to show the world some real dirtbags? Because Sha'Carri sure ain't one of them.
No, she's not. And I'm ready to put on my my lawyer suit, and let's do some prosecuting of some scumbags. What do you think about that?
That sounds perfect. Dirtbag prosecution is in session. I am the jury. You are the prosecutor. Sir, who would you like to call to the stand?
Okay, we have done this segment once. But this guy is already a repeat offender. How did we let him go the first time? Cage this man.
Who's this? Who is it?
Trevor Bauer is back, folks.
Oh, yep. Yep.
He's back.
Captain Douchebag.
He is back in the segment, but he may not be back on his team ever again. He's currently on paid admin leave with the LA Dodgers, which was created between the MLB and the MLB Players Association for domestic violence, domestic investigations. It's a way for an investigation to happen without the MLB choosing blame/guilt. So
which I agree with. I agree with. Killing a guy without an investigation is bullshit, and a woman, same. No matter who is the abuser, without an investigation is bullshit.
The next thing I was going to say is Trevor Bauer is facing allegations. So, like, obviously with all this is big quotes, allegations. So I'm going to run through the what information I have for you folks, and then we can kind of talk about it, digest it a little bit. Trevor Bauer is said to have choked this female. I'm going to leave her name anonymous. I'm sure you can find it online if you really are interested in it. She choked her until she passed out. He then punched her in several areas, which forced her to go to the hospital to seek treatment. There are also some texts that are troublesome. I'm not going to talk about them on here. If you want to go online, you're more than welcome to, and I'm sure they'll be very easy to find. Those are some troublesome texts as well. a restraining order has been placed upon Mr. Trevor Bauer. So that does bring some validity to this woman's claim. But I will tell you, as my personal dealings with the law, it is not extremely hard to get a personal protective order, a restraining order, whatever you want to call it, in whatever state. Usually the suspect or the person being prosecuted isn't even present, doesn't have a say. It's basically, here's my story, if the judge believes it's somewhat valid, restraining order. So, not saying that, I mean, again, these are still all allegations, it's all going to come out, but if these allegations are true, I don't think Trevor Bauer will ever play a game in baseball, play again, because he hasn't really released a statement. But from the things that are coming out, there seems to be no remorse and no type of admission of wrongdoing, which may be a strategic play illegally. But it just looks bad for his public image, and public image gets you assigned to a baseball team, and he was doing great. He was doing great. Shady, I've talked for a little bit. What do you think about this?
No, it's fine. Like you said, dude, if all of the allegations are true, which frankly, again, I'm an innocent until proven guilty guy, but he has come up on dirtbag prosecution a couple times now. I'm starting to feel like he probably did it, but is what it is. I'm going to wait for all of the evidence to come out. I hope his ass is banned forever. He should not be able to be. Here's the thing. When you are a professional athlete, Kyrie Irving doesn't want to believe this, but when you are a professional athlete, you are getting paid millions of dollars to be an influence on millions of people, whether they're old, young, middle-aged. Part of the reason you are getting paid millions and millions of dollars is because you are a performer. And in that, you also have to keep yourself to a high standard. No different than being a CEO of a company. You are the reflection of your company, so you need to always act in a professional manner. You need to be a representation of your company in a way that is in a good light to what you are doing. It is your job. And if you beat a woman in a company, I can guarantee, companies I've worked for would have fired your ass for sure.
Definitely.
So it's no different than that. If you are being a horrible, and it's even amplified on the professional sports level, where you are reaching millions and millions of people, not just clients and customers and partners and people like that, which limit to like the hundreds of people. You're reaching millions of people. You are reaching kids. Kids
They're
are looking
buying
up.
your jersey. Kids are wearing your jersey.
And wearing it to school.
Yeah.
And you're sitting there choking the shit out of people. Like, I'm 100% with you. No, it's absolutely not a good look. And I just think it's just crazy to me that we're having this conversation still. You know what I mean? Like, if every single time I feel like every other podcast we've got to bring up somebody doing something stupid. Like, you have every opportunity in the world to not beat the shit out of a woman. You should probably just not beat the shit out of a woman. You know what I'm saying? Is that too much to ask?
Damn.
Is that too hard to process?
You're really spitting some fire, man. I don't think that's really crossed a lot of people's minds.
Yeah,
apparently.
it's a very elevated takes today. Apparently, it's not getting through to a lot of these professional athletes.
Well, we've spent enough time on him, and you know what, Trevor Bauer, you may just give us. He might just be creating content for us without even trying for the rest of our days. You never know.
Yeah, no doubt. I honestly very much appreciate it.
All right, so let me take this outfit off. Let me put on my judge and jury outfit. All right, I'm all set. Will you please present your case to the court?
Okay, Your Honor, I would like to present the case today. Rachel Nichols needs to get her shit together. Okay, do you know what I'm talking about? Do you know what I'm referring to here, RJ?
So, court in session.
Sidebar.
Yes, sidebar. I read a article headline. I read a headline. So I know somewhat of what was said, but I don't know enough. So I'm actually excited to learn about it from you. So educate me, and you're really presenting a case here. So let's go, viewers.
I'm absolutely presenting a case. So and it's actually funny that you started it that way, because particularly like particularly, it's really, really hard to find online what Rachel even said about this woman that caused this uproar, and it ultimately resulted in Rachel Nichols being pulled from the NBA sidelines for the remainder of the NBA Finals. And so basically, what she had said is like, I don't know. It's hard to even like interpret because like I want to present it in a way that doesn't make her look like a complete bitch. You know what I mean?
So you're trying to give her like, the best benefit of the doubt.
Yeah. So basically, the way I'm not going to say it word for word, but basically, what she alluded to was kind of like Maria Taylor. Who's another reporter? I think for NBA Countdown, just ESPN in general. She's been on a lot of stuff. She's great. Mariah Taylor's been great. She also fired back at Rachel Nichols for a lot of these for this comment, and apparently it's caused a shitstorm, which I believe is why Nichols ended up getting pulled from a lot of this. But realistically, she implied that Mariah Taylor got her job because she was black, and it was a particular job that I think Nichols wanted and didn't get, and Nichols didn't because she was white. And so, obviously, in today's landscape, you can't say shit like this. B, the primary sport that you cover is the NBA, so you definitely can't say that shit. And like, even if you could say the shit, like, why are you? Like, you are already someone who is a pillar of what people are trying to do. We want more women in sports. We want more women talking about sports. Women give a unique perspective on sports that a lot of guys want to disparage or not. That's bullshit, okay? Like, we were just talking about the woman who should get the head coaching job over at the Spurs. Like, that shit, that is coming, and it needs to happen. It needed to happen. They don't look at sports any different than we do. The only reason they give a unique perspective, according to the public eye, is because they're women. It's not unique. It's just provocative, and that's what we need more of in sports. And so for her to, try to dig a wall in between the black and the white women in what they are trying to do is despicable. It's just absolutely despicable, Rachel Nichols. And like you've also made comments about like harassment in the workplace, and you're sarcastic about everything that you bring to air. And I hate this because I liked Rachel Nichols for a long time, but it seems like she became after the tragic downfall of Aaron Andrews, Rachel Nichols became the star child over at ESPN, and she's on everything. Man, she is on everything. And it's just for you to bring this opinion to the table, or just say it even sarcastically, because that's how you give every piece of news that you give. It's why? Like, why? Like, you've made so much progress. Why do you have to demean the women around you to make? I don't get it. I don't know.
So I don't know how she said it or anything, but I will tell you, if I had a job where I literally talk for a living and report, and I always have a microphone on me, I'm really going to watch what I say.
Absolutely.
All the time. That is just so dumb. So, if anything, whether she's guilty, I mean, this isn't like a legal thing, so we don't got to say allegedly, right? Like, I mean, she said it apparently.
It absolutely happened.
So, you're an idiot. I mean, like, there's no way to put it. Like, that's just a bonehead mistake, and I really hope you don't feel that way. I hope it was sarcastic, because you don't really, like, I don't know Giannis, right? But I like him because I see him on TV all the time. I like Rachel Nichols, right? Like, she's been doing NBA games for quite a while. And she has some good, like, one-on-one interviews that are on E60 quite a bit with players. Like, she breaks news quite a bit. I like reading her articles / like news stories. Don't ruin that for me, right? Like, Shady brought it up really well. You've climbed a ladder that did not exist 30 years ago. You're basically on the top. You and I think her name's Doris Burke, right? Like, you're at the top of sideline reporting, of just almost women reporting in sports in general. Like, I can't think of anyone who's better or as well known as her. And you're just gonna throw it all away over, like, I mean, like a high school drama. He kissed her and she kissed. Like, it seems so petty. Or if it's over a job. Like, that's something a high school, you always hear, high school girls are mean. Yeah, the high school girls are mean to each other. Why do they have to be mean to each other in professional workplace? Why not try to build each other up? The men couldn't be us. We're the boys, right? Always do it for the boys. These women, I don't get it.
Yeah, I don't know. But, okay. So I am a man, so I'm speaking from a very obtuse perspective. So if this is off kilter, women, feel free to rip me apart in the comments. I don't care. I deserve it sometimes. I'm wearing all pink. I'm not, it is what it is. It is what it is. But I feel like the reason a lot of this happens and why women tear each other apart is because it is still a rising position in the sports world, right? They are still easily the minority there. So for some reason, they feel like it's kind of like lions to a carcass. Okay, there's only so much meat, so I'm going to try and take as much as I can. And if you're taking more than I think you should, then I'm going to fight you about it. And maybe that's the narrative's problem. Maybe that is the systemic problem here, is that there isn't enough meat on the bones for women in the space, which is a problem and needs to be addressed and fixed, and that's going to take time. But for you to constantly demean what your other women are trying to, what your fellow women and your colleagues, and not only women, but the men in your organization are doing as well, for you to constantly, she was annoyed by BLM. She was annoyed by the Me Too movement. At a certain point, Rachel Nichols, shut the fuck up.
Yeah.
Just shut the fuck up. Doris Burke is an all-star. Everybody loves the Burkie to death. Yeah, she gets annoying sometimes on podcasts, but so does Jeff Van Gundy. Everybody's got their quirks, but I'll be sad the day she's gone. I'm waiting for Rachel Nichols to leave at this point, and that's sad. I hope Mariah Taylor gets her jobs, to be honest with you.
Yeah. But here's my thing. I don't want this to propel Mariah Taylor if, she isn't good at her job.
It needs to be on merit. It needs to be on merit, 100%.
Boom. Keep
100%.
100, right?
100%.
Yeah. So, we agree. Yet again, this has been
This is very agreeing podcast today. Yeah, it's just, even if you're on camera or not, why do you even have those opinions? You know what I mean? And that's why I'm prosecuting her as a dirtbag. First woman on dirtbag prosecution. And
it's the first deemed guilty. I deem her guilty. She is charged with, I won't watch the next, she probably won't be on any more games. So if she's on a game, I think she's
booted off.
Yeah. Next game that I know she's on. ESPN
took care of that for us.
Yeah. Next game that I know she's going to be on, I'm not going to watch. And there you go. There's your sentence. Okay. So
I'm in.
People, my people, your people, all our people. Look at my hat. Do you like the hat? I like the hat. It's really comfy. It's, you can change the size of it very easily. It's SPF 50. The sun doesn't hurt me.
Oh, damn. Take that shit out to Hawaii, bro.
Exactly.
Sun protection. That's next level.
Check it out at elevatedtakes.com. We're going to have it up there. You're going to check it out in the merch. I'm excited. We have a limited amount. This is kind of we're testing the water, so we're really trying to see how it's going to go. Also, check out the YouTube. Hopefully, you're watching us on YouTube right now. Like and subscribe. Click the bell. Get the notifications. If you're actually watching or listening on Spotify, please go to elevatedtakes.com and write us an article just saying that you're listening on Spotify. We want to hear from you.
Absolutely.
Because we see people in the comments on YouTube all the time, but we don't get to hear back from the people on Spotify, Apple Music, and all that. So we want to hear from you people. You can email us. Shady, let them know what to do.
Go to the website, www.elevatedtakes.com. Submit your own take for the world to see. Tell us how you feel about the podcast. Tell us how you feel about the website. Tell us how you feel about us. If you don't like my face, if you don't like RJ's, if you don't like his beard, I get it. Tell us about it. But we just want to, it was a low blow.
I'm self-conscious about that.
We just want to hear about it. And ladies and gentlemen, I hope y'all had a great 4th of July weekend. I hope you had fireworks. I hope you had hot dogs. Hope you got to swim. Hope you got to see everybody you love and adore. And if you didn't, reach out to us, because I swear we'd love to give you somebody to party with. We're always looking for new friends, new listeners, new people to talk with about everything and anything. Because like I always say, even if your take isn't elevated, that doesn't mean it's not important. Everybody, have a good night.